What happens when royalty walks into the studio expecting praise and walks out the door in flames? You've seen tense interviews, awkward silences, and live walkouts before, but nothing like this. Prince Harry meets Lara Spencer in a clash of pride, truth, and ego that shatters the calm of morning television. What begins as a polite conversation turns into a verbal demolition no one saw coming. The Good Morning America studio had a subtle hum that morning. One part anticipation, one part tension. The kind of atmosphere that made even the most seasoned producers double-X checking their cues and audio feeds. Today's guest wasn't a pop star or a movie actor promoting their latest release. No, this morning's guest came with titles, controversies, and a trail of headline-generating chaos. Prince Harry. As the camera panned left, Prince Harry entered from the wings. He wore a fitted charcoal suit with the collar of his shirt slightly open, no tie. His expression was cool, too cool, a calculated balance between aloof and media-trained. He waved briefly to the studio audience and shook Lara's hand with the bare minimum of courtesy. "Good morning, Prince Harry," Lara said. "Thank you for being with us." "Morning," and Harry said, settling into his chair and adjusting his lapel. "And please, just Harry. I've retired from the whole Your Royal Highness thing." Lara gave a polite chuckle. "Fair enough. Just Harry it is." There was a pause. "Let's start simple," she continued. "How's life in California treating you these days?" Harry gave a slow smile. "Sunny, quiet. Better than cold palaces and cold shoulders." A few audience members laughed. Lara smiled, but her eyes didn't. "Well, speaking of shoulders, let's talk about carrying legacy," she said smoothly. "You were born into one of the most iconic families in modern history. Do you ever miss being a part of that system?" Harry shrugged. "Miss it?" "No, I escaped it." "Escaped," Lara repeated, raising her eyebrows. "That's a strong word." "Not strong enough," Harry replied. "People have no idea what goes on behind palace walls. They think it's all gold and etiquette. It's not. It's a machine that eats you alive." Laura gave a small nod, then glanced at her notes. "And yet, you've kept the title, the security, the public presence. If it was so toxic, why not walk away completely?" Harry's expression tightened. "I've walked far enough, but not far enough to stop doing interviews," she asked. He leaned forward slightly. "Would you rather I stay silent, or would you rather I tell my truth on my terms instead of having it rewritten by tabloids?" Lara raised a brow. "I just find it interesting, Harry. You say you want privacy, but you've become one of the most public people in the world by your own design." He smiled sarcastically. "Well, maybe I'm just better at it than they ever expected." That landed with a thud. Lara quickly pivoted. "Let's talk about Diana. Your mother was beloved by the world. Many people see echoes of her in how you speak out. Does that comparison sit well with you?" Harry's face stiffened. "My mother isn't your narrative tool." Lara's eyes widened slightly. "I didn't mean you all use her when it's convenient." Harry cut in. "Let her rest." There was a sharp silence in the studio. Lara recovered. "Fair enough. Let's move on to something more current. Meghan, how is she?" "She's not here," Harry said bluntly. "No, but she's certainly a part of the story," Lara pressed gently. "Many viewers are curious about how your relationship has shaped your views, especially this interview is about me," Harry interrupted. "If you want to talk to her, book her." Laura paused, then said coolly, "Well, since you're the one here, I suppose I'll have to ask you." The tension hit a new high. Harry sat back, crossing his arms. "Fine, ask. Do you believe the criticism around Meghan has had more to do with race, personality, or public expectation?" Harry tilted his head. "I think it has to do with envy. She shines in ways the others never could." Laura's smile was gone. "That's a bold claim." "Truth usually is," Harry said, eyes locked on her. "And you're sure it's truth, not projection?" Lara asked almost sweetly. Harry laughed once coldly. "You journalists love that word, don't you? Projection. Must be hard staring at someone who isn't afraid to speak their mind." Lara pressed on. "So let's go deeper. Is there any path in your mind where reconciliation with your family is possible?" Reconciliation? Harry smirked. Only if they beg for it. The studio was dead quiet. Laura blinked. Do you actually expect that? Harry shrugged. I don't expect anything from people who showed me nothing. Laura's voice softened, but her words cut deeper. Harry, do you ever worry that by trying so hard to define your life against your family, you're still letting them define you? Harry's expression turned dark. No, he said. I'm writing my own story. But do you think it's a story the world is still willing to read? She asked. He leaned forward again, eyes narrowed. They'll read it. They'll buy it. They already have. The arrogance in his tone echoed, and Lara drew in a breath. You know, Harry, maybe it's time to stop acting like you're the royal rebel and realize you're just a very famous, very rich man with a grudge. That line hit hard. Harry blinked, surprised by the directness. I think we're done here, he said, voice tense. You sure? Lara asked, her tone even. We haven't even gotten to the part where I ask if you still consider yourself a prince. Harry stood up. No, he said quietly. Not a prince. Not your puppet. As he walked off set, Laura turned to the camera, her voice calm and clear. We'll be right back after the break. But everyone watching knew the break wasn't just commercial, it was royal, and it had just shattered live on national television. The commercial break had just ended. The studio lights flickered gently as the crew scrambled to reframe the camera angles. Lara Spencer sat alone at the desk, sipping from her GMA branded mug, her expression unreadable. The audience was hushed, uncertain whether the guest would return or if what they just witnessed was the abrupt end of the morning's headline segment. Then the side door opened again. Prince Harry re-entered, shoulders squared, jaw tight, eyes blazing. His suit jacket was gone, shirt sleeves rolled halfway up like he was walking into a boxing ring instead of a talk show set. Lara didn't stand. She didn't smile. Changed your mind? She asked evenly. Harry sat down with a thud, never breaking eye contact. I'm not going to let you twist everything I say. I don't twist, Lara replied. I clarify. Harry chuckled dryly. Is that what you call it? She set her bug down. Let's get something straight, Harry. You weren't ambushed. You weren't tricked. You signed up for an interview, not a love letter. Harry leaned forward. And you think you're holding me accountable? Is that what this is? Some crusade to be the first journalist to expose the bad royal? I think, Lara said, that someone needed to ask the questions everyone else is too scared to. He scoffed. You mean the tabloids haven't done enough damage already? Maybe I should thank you for the opportunity to be insulted to my face instead of through headlines. Insulted, Laura repeated. You called your entire family toxic. You accused them of racism. You published private arguments. And now you're upset that people are asking if you've taken it too far. I didn't name names, Harry shot back, because I have more dignity than they ever showed me. Or maybe, Lara said, voice like ice. You kept it vague on purpose. Just enough drama to sell books, but not enough specifics to be sued. Harry's fist clenched on the armrests. You don't know what we've been through, he growled. You sit there in your New York studio, sipping coffee while my wife was pushed to the brink of suicide. Lara blinked. And I take that seriously, but I also take seriously the damage done when public accusations are made without proof. She lived it, Harry snapped. We both did. And so did the people you accused, Lara said, without ever letting them respond. There was a silence. Then Harry muttered. They had decades of media control. Now it's our turn. Lara folded her hands. And how is this any different than what they did to you? You say you escaped a palace of manipulation, then you build your own in California and rent out rooms to Netflix. Harry laughed bitterly. Nice metaphor. Did your team write that for you? No, Lara replied. That one came from watching this interview fall apart. The audience stirred. Harry sat back exasperated. This was supposed to be a conversation, not a courtroom. Lara didn't flinch. Then stop acting like you're on trial and start acting like someone who can own his decisions. There was an edge and know how much it now. Neither was playing anymore. All right, Harry said, spreading his arms. Ask your next question. Let's see how low you'll go. Lara didn't hesitate. Are you still in contact with your family? No, Harry replied curtly. Do you believe they'll ever forgive you? He smirked. They'll need me before I ever need them. And do you see yourself ever returning to the UK officially or ceremonially? Harry rolled his eyes. Why would I? So they can trot me out like a zoo exhibit when they need good press. Lara's voice was flat. So to be clear, you've cut ties with the monarchy entirely. Harry hesitated. Let's just say I've evolved beyond it. That line struck something in Lara. She leaned in. Harry, she said softly but sharply, you're not royalty anymore. You're a celebrity. You're on morning shows, on podcasts, selling stories and platforms. You don't carry the weight of tradition. You carry a Netflix deal. Harry's mouth tightened. That's none of your business. It became our business the moment you made your trauma a product. His eyes narrowed. You have no idea what you're talking about, don't I? She asked. Because here's what I see. A man desperate to be seen as a victim while living like a king. A man who cut the strings of duty, but still calls himself Duke when it suits the moment. That title is mine, Harry said, voice rising. It was given by the Queen, my grandmother. And would she be proud of how you've used it? Laura fired back. Harry froze visibly. Lara didn't relent. You dodged every question about her. But let's be honest, Harry, she adored you. And in her final years, you repaid that by airing family pain to the world. Not in service, not in silence, but in spectacle. She wanted me to be happy, he said. She wanted you to be honorable, Lara snapped. And somewhere along the way, you started confusing attention with purpose. Harry shot to his feet again, furious. You know what? I don't need this. Lara remained seated. Then why come back? He didn't answer, just stood there, fists trembling. Because, she said finally, you thought you could control the narrative. But this time, the questions weren't scripted and the spotlight didn't flatter. Harry pointed a finger at her. You're not a journalist. You're a glorified gossip host hiding behind a script. And you, she said quietly, are just another angry man who lost control of his own story. That broke him. He reached down, yanked the microphone from his collar, and dropped it on the desk with a loud thump. You'll regret this, he said through gritted teeth. No, Lara replied. I'll remember it. Harry stormed off again, but this time there was no applause, just silence, and a camera slowly zooming in on Lara's face, unmoved, unsiling, and more resolute than ever. She turned to the audience. Well, she said calmly, we'll be right back. The screen faded to black, but everyone watching knew. They just witnessed something no one could script. The cameras hadn't stopped rolling. In the control room, producers whispered in panicked tones. Stagehands stood frozen. A few audience members looked toward the exit, unsure if they were still watching a morning talk show or witnessing history implode in real time. From backstage, the sound of muffled voices seeped through. Eclipsed British accent barked orders. Harry's. His voice was sharp, unmistakably agitated. She ambushed me. That was not the agreement. She's twisting everything. A handler tried to calm him. Sir, it's live television. I don't care, Harry growled. If she thinks she's getting the last word, she's sorely mistaken. Then footsteps, heavy, deliberate. The door swung open again. Prince Harry stormed back into the studio for the third time, eyes locked on Lara Spencer. This time the audience didn't move. No polite applause, no hopeful gasp. Just silence. Lara didn't rise. She simply glanced at him and said, You came back. Harry stood beside his chair. I'm not letting you rewrite who I am. Funny, Lara replied. That's exactly what I was about to say to you. He slowly sat. No smile, no posture, just fury radiating off him like heat off asphalt. Lara broke the silence first. Why are you here, Harry? He blinked. Excuse me? Why are you really here, she pressed. Is it to promote a cause, a show, or to punish everyone who didn't treat you like the main character of the monarchy? The words cut like razors. I came here to talk about my work, Harry snapped, about the Invictus Games, about mental health, about causes that matter. And yet, Lara said calmly, you've spent 90% of this interview defending yourself, not your work, he pointed at her, because you made it personal. No, Laura said, voice like steel. You did the moment you turned every public appearance into a therapy session. The moment you turned grief into branding, trauma into marketing. You don't know what I've lost, Harry said, barely holding his voice steady. I know, Lara said, her voice softening just enough to sting. You lost your mother, and you've spent the rest of your life punishing the world for it. Harry's mouth dropped open. Lara didn't stop. You blame the press, the family, the institution, but you never look inward. Never ask what part of this chaos you chose. He leaned forward, eyes wild. I chose survival. You chose entitlement, she countered. He stood again, face flushed. You don't get to talk to me like that. I just did, she replied coldly. He looked around the studio. This whole thing is a setup. You people don't want truth. You want spectacle. Lara crossed her legs calmly. No, Harry. We want honesty. Not theatrics, not curated pain, not this endless performance of nobility and exile. You have no right, he hissed, to sit there and judge me. And yet, she said, the world's been judged by you and Meghan nonstop for 4 years. Every speech, every memoir, every Netflix episode. You've thrown stones from glass castles and then cried when someone dared throw one back. Harry's fists were shaking now. You sound just like them, he said. My brother, my father, cold, calculated, obsessed with image. Maybe, Laura replied, or maybe I just know what accountability looks like. There was a pause, then she added, let me ask you something, Harry. Have you ever just once called your father since Queen Elizabeth passed? He didn't answer. Have you spoken to William? She asked. Or do you still believe he shoved you into a dog bowl? Don't mock what happened in it, to my Harry spat. I'm not mocking it, Lara said. I'm asking you. Where's the line between healing and revenge? He slammed a hand on the armrest. You think this is revenge? You think I wanted this life? No, Lara said flatly. I think you wanted power without responsibility. And when you couldn't have it inside the palace, you created your own throne in Montecito. Harry stood fully now, breathing heavy. You're disgusting, and you're unraveling, she replied. I came here in good faith, he shouted. You came here to control the narrative, Lara snapped. And when that failed, you did what you always do. Played the victim. That was it. Harry leaned across the desk, face inches from hers. You think I'm weak? He said, voice shaking. I think, Lara said quietly, you're terrified of being ordinary. The silence that followed was so absolute, even the audience didn't dare exhale. Harry's face turned crimson, his jaw locked. He stepped back. This is over, he said. You don't deserve my words. You're right, Lara replied. I deserve the truth, but you're too busy selling it to give it. Harry reached for his lapel mic again, tore it off, slammed it onto the desk. You'll regret this, he whispered. No, Lara said, but you might. He turned on his heel and stormed out of the studio, the third exit. But something told everyone watching it wouldn't be the last. The audience was still holding its breath. Producers in the control room were whispering frantically into earpieces. The camera lights had dimmed slightly, unsure whether the segment was done or just on the brink of chaos. Then the door slammed open and Prince Harry stormed in again. But this time he wasn't composed. He wasn't media polished. He wasn't careful. His sleeves were rolled higher, his hair slightly disheveled, his eyes wild with something between rage and desperation. Lara Spencer didn't move. She sat perfectly still, as if waiting for the final act of a performance she no longer respected. Harry didn't wait to be introduced. He didn't even look at the audience. He walked to the desk, stood over it, and said coldly, You think this is funny? Lara met his eyes. No, I think it's sad. Sad? Harry scoffed. You've twisted every answer, mocked everything I've said, and now what? Are you going to parade around like you exposed some monster? Lara leaned back in her chair. No, Harry, you exposed yourself. The audience winced. Harry looked like he might flip the desk. You think you're above me because you're American media royalty? Because you read cue cards and smile at celebrities every morning? Lara's voice was steady. No, but I know the difference between a man who wants peace and a man who wants applause. You don't understand what I've sacrificed, Harry growled. What I gave up to protect my family. Then why are you still cashing in on the title? Lara shot back. Why are you still wearing the crown in your bell when you claim to have dropped it in your heart? Harry stepped closer. You want to humiliate me? Is that it? I don't need to, Lara said. You've done that yourself. Harry's lip curled. You think I need the royal family? No, Lara
replied. You need their shadow because without it, you're just another celebrity with a Netflix contract and a microphone. The room crackled. You're cruel, Harry said. You're careless, Lara replied. You're jealous, he sneered. Lara actually laughed. Of what exactly? Your emotional instability, your public unraveling, or your belief that the world owes you for being born in a castle. Harry's voice dropped to a hiss. You don't know what it's like to lose your mother to this media circus and then be asked to smile through it. Her eyes darkened. Don't you dare invoke your mother again as a shield from accountability. You're not 12 anymore, Harry. You're a grown man making choices and blaming everyone else when they go wrong. He raised a finger. You've crossed a line. And you, she said, crossed it when you turned family into content. A shocked gasp rippled across the studio. Harry looked like he'd been slapped. I came here to talk about projects that matter, he tried. No, Lara interrupted. You came here thinking we'd roll out a red carpet, but I'm not your palace staff, and this isn't your PR tour. This is journalism, and I've had enough. Harry stepped back. You can't speak to me like that. Lara stood now, too calm, controlled, unshakable. I just did, and now I'm asking you live, on air, to please leave. Silence. Even the camera operators looked stunned. Harry stared at her in disbelief. You're kicking me off? I'm ending the performance, Lara said. This studio is not your therapy stage. He hesitated, then growled. Fine. He reached for his backup mic, yanked it so violently that the clip snapped off. He slammed it on the desk again, this time cracking the plastic. You'll regret this, he whispered. Lara looked straight into the camera. Already don't. Harry turned and walked. No, stormed off the set. This time, there was no coming back. The studio stayed silent. Then Lara took a breath, straightened her blazer, and faced the nation. That was Prince Harry. He asked for an honest conversation. We gave him one. What you saw wasn't bullying. It wasn't cruelty. It was someone being asked to take responsibility. And when that happened, he ran.
She paused.
Some people believe royal blood makes you untouchable, but on this stage, only character earns protection. She folded her hands, exhaled slowly. We'll be back in a moment. The screen faded to black. And just like that, Prince Harry became the first royal in television history to be asked to leave a live morning show. It was no longer about titles or trauma or truth.
It was about ego.
And America had just watched it collapse in real